NAD is life. It will fuel over 500 different chemical processes in the body. Every single cell has NAD. From my perspective as a dietitian, I would explain it more from a function perspective of the cell. So what we know about NAD is it's involved in two primary functions. One is ATP production, which is cellular energy. That fuels everything in the body. It fuels your voluntary and involuntary processes in the body. Walk, talk, sleep, your heart's beating, all of that is in part fueled by ATP. The other aspect of NAD and why it's so important is for cellular defense and repair. So when our bodies come under attack from different metabolic stressors, such as immune challenges, for instance, or environmental factors such as excess sun leading to sunburn, and what happens there is that our body kind of goes in this defense repair perspective, and it wants to heal that area. So for instance, if you do get a sunburn, you're gonna have some inflammation, and that inflammation is gonna be seen in the skin, and you'll see it because you'll turn red. If it's really bad, you'll peel. So that's a third-degree burn, basically. So our body uses NAD in those instances to heal those areas and to heal that tissue. So those are the two primary functions of NAD. Time, aka age, impacts how much NAD each cell has. All of those types of external stressors also will deplete the NAD system. And then you have that in combination with time. So when that happens, our bodies and our cells and the powerhouse of the cell, the mitochondria, may not be as efficient. And so when they kind of don't work optimally, then your body doesn't work optimally. Some of the chemical processes don't necessarily work optimally. So we try to support all of those functions in the body by increasing NAD to the best of our ability. When our bodies are exposed to different types of immune challenges, our cells kind of kick into action and the immune system kicks into action. So you have the innate and the adaptive immune system. The innate immune system is kind of that first line of defense. And that's what kind of goes into action to help, get rid of any kind of immune challenge that you're having. What happens there is that there are specific proteins in the body, they're called sirtuins and PARPs, but those two proteins consume NAD in order to do their job. And their job is to defend the cell against that immune challenge that is happening. When it wins, then the immune challenge goes away and our bodies can begin to rebuild health. If it doesn't quite win, so for instance, if our cells run out of NAD because those two proteins consumed it, well then ultimately that cell cannot make ATP anymore and then that cell dies. Then the immune challenge could potentially spread and replicate throughout the body and then you might get sick. Well, what's interesting when I first started working here was to understand a little bit more about how all the processes within the cell. It was so intricate and it just kept blowing my mind in a sense of really understanding all the different pathways of how our body works, especially when it comes to increasing NAD and the importance of NAD. And what I learned a lot as in my studies for degrees, for exercise physiology as well as nutrition is, glycolysis. How does your body make energy from the foods that we eat? At True Niagen, we understand that the foods that we eat go through specific chemical processes in the body and specifically in the cell to create what is known as cellular energy or ATP. And that drives all of the functions in the body. It helps us move, it helps us walk, it helps us run and play with our kids, it helps us sleep, it does everything, voluntary and involuntary. So there are just some nutrients that are better supplemented in order to get efficacious doses. If you look at NR specifically though, it is found naturally in milk, but in order to get 300 milligrams that you would get in one capsule of True Niagen, you would have to drink almost 88 gallons of milk a day just to get that 300 milligrams that you would find in one capsule of True Niagen. And in order to support healthy aging to the best of our ability, there's so many different lifestyle factors that you can do. Obviously eating well, I'm gonna harp on that forever. Exercising, being in community, having those good social connections, and then taking supplements when you need to take supplements. Supplements are just that. They supplement a healthy diet. They don't replace a healthy diet. So time, aka age, impacts how much NAD each cell has. All of those types of external stressors also will deplete the NAD system. And then you have that in combination with time. Very similar to glutathione. Let's use glutathione as an example, because people, I think, understand now, because education has been out there, that you cannot take glutathione orally because your body breaks it down. So taking it doesn't increase it a lot easier. Same thing with NAD. To take NAD as a supplement, or now it's very popular in wellness clinics and people are getting infusions, it's such a large molecule that your body has to break it apart. Very similar to eating a steak. You know, that protein in that steak aren't going to go directly to your biceps. Your body has to break that down into components, and specifically for the steak, it's amino acids. But for NAD, one of those components happens to be NR, or nicotinamide riboside. So that's considered a precursor to NAD, and that's what you want to take in order to reach into the cell and get your body to increase NAD on its own. It's very similar to some of the precursors that people take for glutathione. So NAC is a precursor to glutathione. Nicotinamide riboside is a unique form of vitamin B3 that increases NAD in the cell. We have data on several human studies clinically showing that it increases NAD in the cell. When you can take that and you take it over time, we see an increase of over 50% within 2 weeks on 300 milligrams per day. And then on 1,000 milligrams per day, we see an increase of NAD at over 140% in just 2 weeks. So when it comes to taking a precursor to NAD so that it increases NAD in the cell, it's very individualized. So I would encourage people to understand and really pay attention to how their body is feeling, not only on typical days when they're not supplementing, but when they do start to supplement. Some people might say that they feel an increase in energy just because of its role in creating ATP. Other anecdotal evidence that we've heard from people who begin to supplement is they sleep better. Some people also have different experiences, such as hair growth or nail growth. And that could be because, again, of how it's working on a cellular level and in every single tissue in the body. It's everywhere. And I think that's hard for people to comprehend. Everything is made up of a cell. Absolutely everything that we see goes all the way down to the cellular level. It's very much with any kind of a supplement, you know, even if you're taking a protein powder, for instance, after your workout, you can get the benefits of it if you take it daily. The same thing with supplementing with nicotinamide riboside. If you take it daily, then you're going to continue to support your body's ability to create NAD. And if you take, say, for instance, 300 milligrams daily, over time, your body will hit a little bit of a plateau. But if you bump it up again to either 600, 900, 1,000, depending again on some of the stressors that you might have, then your body's going to go up a little bit more. It's going to create a little bit more, and then it might plateau off again. So consistent daily supplementation is the key when it comes to supporting the NAD system in the body.